Hi, Paxet Bonum. So today we are going to talk about a new topic. I will be introducing to you uh, JavaScript, and specifically we are going to talk about the basics, how to insert a script and such. So the learning competencies that you need to develop today are to differentiate JavaScript from HTML and CSS, and to identify a JavaScript statement, as well as identify a variable in a code structure, and demonstrate how to insert a script necessary in deploying web pages. So let me show you this one. I am guessing you are familiar with this game. Now, let me ask you, think about this. If you press the W button or any of the movement keys, W, A, S, or D, what will happen in the game? So probably you will answer correctly that using W, A, S, D keys will let the character move forward, backward, or sideways, or as well as clicking on the left mouse button, it will provide an action like firing of the weapon. Now, in terms of JavaScript, it also works the same way, wherein the actions provided, um, they are triggered by the user. Let me show you this website as an example. No, not really a website, but rather imagine this one. Imagine the character as a simple computer graphic. Now, the character, you may think of it as it is written in HTML. So that is the base structure of, of the code. When we add a simple design, that's the time we apply a CSS. When we apply a CSS, now the mesh, the character mesh will have a texture, it will have a skin. But if we do not have any codes specifically targeting any movement or any action, we will have a character that is very inactive. So the keyword that we are looking for here is interactivity. So in JavaScript, that's the very idea. We add interactivity to our web pages. Now, just to give you a small sample of how JavaScript looks like, so let's start from the basic. If we will provide a paragraph tag in HTML that has a content new name, more or less it would look like this on a browser. Now, adding some CSS to this paragraph tag, it would change the paragraph, or not really change, but rather it will uh, add a look that is provided in the selector P. Now, we can add some interactivity to the paragraph tag. Let's look at this JavaScript code. So I've provided a bit of a code snippet here. Now watch what will happen to the paragraph tag. It was clicked, and then a prompt appeared, and we can type anything. Once we press OK, the paragraph was changed to whatever was typed. So that's the interactivity I am talking about. Just like in this example of a web page, if you will look closely, there is a text box here wherein you can write a name. And once you click the submit button, this paragraph here will appear, and whatever is written on the text box will be placed here. So it is actually citing a name. So that's how JavaScript works. And if you will think about it, adding a text box, a button, providing some interactivity, we cannot implement something like that based on what we have learned so far in HTML and in CSS. So that is the reason why we need to discuss JavaScript, so that you as young web developers, you will be able to create a more interactive web page for the user's experience. So what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a scripting language, and it allows you to implement complex features for web pages. When we say a scripting language, it's also like a programming language. I don't know if you already have an idea what a programming language is, but you can think of it as something like a natural language. Filipino, English, Spanish, Brazilian. It is also a language in the sense that it has a set of words, and these words have complex structure wherein when you place them together, they will form a meaning. In the context of a programming language, uh, the combination of words will have a special meaning for the computer, specifically uh, for the browser that will interpret that code or that language. But again, JavaScript is a scripting language. A scripting language is a lightweight programming language, because programming languages are very, very deep. A scripting language is smaller in scale. Mostly they are implemented in web pages. Now, if we implement a scripting language, or basically scripting in a web page, um, we can change the way how a web page works, because we can add again the word interactivity. Instead of the information being static, we can add something like a blinking buttons, or a text that will appear, disappear after a few seconds, something like that. Again, all of these, we are doing it for the sake of the user, so that they will have a better experience while navigating the content of a web page. Now, don't forget that when we talk about HTML, we are only dealing with the structure of a page. And when we talk about CSS, we are talking about the design of the page. And when we talk about JavaScript, basically we are adding interactivity to the web page. So what can JavaScript do? It can add dynamic texts into an HTML page, not only dynamic text, but also audio, video. It can react to events, meaning what will happen if you press the space bar, what will happen if while navigating a web page, you press F1 or F2 or escape or mouse click buttons. So those are events, and JavaScript can react to those events. JavaScript can also read and write HTML elements, just like what I showed you earlier, wherein a paragraph tag was changed into a different form. JavaScript can also be used to detect the visitor's browser by reading the browser's cookies, if you are familiar with cookies. So those are some of the things JavaScript can do. And of course, as beginning web developers, we must learn, or we must start with basic things, like how should we first differentiate the three different languages that we have talked about. First, HTML, to simply identify tags, it must be written with less than and greater than sign. So whenever you see those symbols, most probably they are HTML. Now, CSS, they are written inside a style tag, or they may be written externally in a CSS file. Now, JavaScript, we are going to place every code that we will do in JavaScript inside a tag called script. And basically, the look of the code is very, very different from HTML and CSS. And by the way, JavaScript is not the only scripting language available. There are plenty of different scripting languages that can add interactivity to a web page. For example, we have PHP, where that PHP you will learn about that in your grade 10 TLE ICT. We also have ASP, Ruby on Rails. There are lots and lots of different scripting languages, but for us, we will learn JavaScript because that is the most well-known scripting language, and it is the most used scripting language. So let me demonstrate how to add a scripting, or how to add JavaScript in our web document. So I have the web structure here. This is the area where we will place our, where we can place our CSS, and the body where we place our content. So let's say, for example, we have a paragraph here. We also have a header. Now, to add as a JavaScript, we will use the script tag. Here's the thing. When writing script tags, we can actually place the script tag inside the head section, or we can also place it inside the body. So basically anywhere. But there are actually conventions where we need to follow, like for example, we are going to create functions, which we will cover later on. The functions of JavaScript, I would prefer that they will be placed inside the head section, while other things that we can code, we place it in the body. But just for the sake of this demonstration, I will place the script here inside the body. So we will be using the tag script, and it has a partner tag or an ending closing tag slash script. Now, what are the things that we can place inside our script? One of the things, or the very first thing that I want to teach you, is the idea of variables. Let me just go back to the web page, or I think it's better if I show you the web page itself. All right. So here is the page. We will type the name here. Let's say I will write the name Francis. If I press submit, the paragraph got the value here in the text box. Now, what I would like to point out is the value that was written inside the text box, for it to be transferred here, this value was saved in a place, in a specific location. So just imagine that the text, the one highlighted, we took that and we placed it on, let's say, a cup. So we placed it on a cup. And then when the computer or the browser displays this paragraph tag, the computer just gets the value from the cup, and then it places it on the same line. So the things that we can type are called values, and they are saved inside a variable. So basically, a variable is a container of different kinds of values. And we will talk more about those variables in another day. But more importantly, the variables, they are containers of different kinds of values. Now, um, I want to show you how to declare variables in JavaScript. So we will be using the keyword var, and then it will be followed by a variable or the variable name. Let's say I will create the variable num1. So by writing that, I have already created a container of value. But what is the value that is contained by this variable? At this very instance, it has no value. But we can write an initial value by writing or by using equal sign called the assignment operator. And let's say I will write 10. And then we will terminate it with a semicolon. So the variable num1, it has a value of 10. We create variables by using the keyword var, followed by a name, let's say grade. And the grade has the value 75. So again, the variable name is grade. What is the value of grade? The value of grade is 75. Once we create a variable, anytime within our script, we can use the variable, we can change actually the value of the variable. So for example, I will write here the variable name grade, and it will get 90. If I will ask you, what is the value of the variable grade, what do you think is the value? Is it 90 or is it 75? The answer is 90. Again, let me write another one. Num1 gets 5. If I will ask you what is the value of num1, is it 5 or is it 10? The answer is 5. If I will add another line, num1 gets 0, the value of num1 is not 5, it is not 10, but rather it is 0. The value of a variable will be the last value that it holds. So when a computer or when the browser reads the code, remember the browser reads our HTML, CSS, even JavaScript from top to bottom. So once the code being read is right around here, the end of the end of our codes, the value of num1 is the last value it holds, and it is 0. All right? So that's how variables work. As long as anytime you call on the name of a variable, you can change the name of it. Now we can also perform some operations, but probably we can cover that on a different day. Operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. We can do that inside the line But the important thing to remember here is the usage of the equal sign. We call that as assignment operator. How does the assignment operator work? The assignment operator works something like this. I call it the left gets right concept. So whatever the variable on the left is, it will just get the value that is written at the right of the assignment operator. So let's say you have a variable A. It gets the value 3. So A will have a value of 3. The 3 will just be placed inside A. So that's how left gets right concept works. Now to add to this, we can save values that are not numbers. We can also save values that are text. So let's say I will create a variable named name. It will get a string or a text using quotation marks. We can tell the browser that it is not a number. So when we use quotation marks, we are telling it, hey, this is not a number. This is what we call a string, a set of alphanumeric characters. So we can save a value, this kind of value, into the variable name. Now, let's try to do some drills. I want you to answer my questions. If I will create a variable named this, tell me what is the name of the variable. Okay, so the name of the variable is quarter. But what is the value of quarter? Currently, the value of quarter is non-existent. It's actually null. It's non-existing. But if we place an assignment operator, what is now the value of quarter? The value of quarter is 15. If I add a line, something like that, what is the new value of quarter? The new value is 51. If I add another line again, what is the value of quarter? The value of quarter is 1. Again, remember that the last value a variable holds is its value. So I hope you learned something from me today. I hope to see you again soon. Next time we will talk more about this deeper. Stay safe. God bless. Goodbye.